Hi, it's Joy, and today I'm going to be watching Cobra Kai Season 1, Episode 4, Cobra Kai Never Dies. I am so excited to watch this episode. The first episode went up on YouTube last week, and it took me by surprise how many people were like, oh, Johnny's the good guy. Well, okay, it wasn't that many people, but there was like someone linked me to a video that was like, Daniel was the bully all along, and no. I do want to start by saying, I know I'm very critical of Johnny in his reactions, but that is partly because I can see his heart is in the right place with Miguel. I can see he has it in him to recognise the toxicness of the Cobra Kai mentality that was put into him. I can see that, you know, he's almost there, which is why I find it so frustrating when he goes, no mercy, strike first, don't be a pussy, be a man. Like, it gets me. And it's not even about him not being politically correct, it's just about, like, him repeating the same mistakes and me knowing he is capable of doing better even though he isn't. And in response to the concept of Daniel being the bully, no, he wasn't. He was a dumb kid. Yeah, he did some dumb things, of course he did, but the whole concept of the fight of the All Valley tournament was like, if Daniel lost, then they were gonna like beat him up every time they saw him or something, you know, it was pain on sight or whatever. Like, Johnny was a guy who couldn't get over the fact that his girlfriend was no longer with him and was not interested in him, and that, you know, Daniel, was he perfect? No. Do I particularly agree with Miyagi beating up teenage boys? Also no. Stopping the fight, yes. But like, Johnny was a bully at school. Daniel was a stupid kid. But another key point I wanted to make was that the whole concept of the karate, like when Daniel was sort of initially was like talking to Mr. Miyagi about karate, I feel like he was very much like, oh, teach me how to fight, teach me how to get them. But something that Miyagi kept drilling into him was it's for defense. Defense first. The reason you should learn this is to defend yourself, not to strike first, no mercy. And that is something that I think shapes Daniel a lot. Now, he was not a perfect kid, I doubt he's a perfect man, but the main reason that I kind of so far give him a little more slack than Johnny is because I feel like he's at least trying to do the right thing, whereas Johnny goes as though like, I'm gonna do the right thing, and then at the last minute he goes ding. So yeah, that's my thoughts. I don't hate Johnny by any means. I just get frustrated that he's so close but yet so far. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon. Get that 2 weeks in advance, the edited version 1 week in advance, and let's go.
My pleasure.
Is he stealing?
Nice.
Jesus Christ. That was very easy. You do just trust someone. Oh, Johnny, your son is in a dark place.
Dude, haven't each... No.
Ooh.
It's my fucking dad.
What is his story with Johnny? How did he end up like this? I mean, I'm not gonna... My initial instincts are to kind of assume that Johnny and the mum did not do a particularly good job parenting, but I don't know the circumstances just yet, so I want to know them. Oh, Johnny, you did try and do the right thing by Miguel, but...
Trade cans?
Oh Lord.
Come on, Sam, you're missing out.
She's mad at you. You overstepped.
Nice. Sam.
She's angry. She's gonna be hungry now, but she's angry. You've had enough time to try to talk to her.
What happened to Al, Bill? Mother. Frankly, we're big supporters of the scum that did this.
Excuse me, officer, could you give us...
Daniel, don't overreact. It's a childish prank.
Yeah, and you'll blow the competition away. No one's gonna see it.
We're painting over it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely take down the dick, but they should press charges on the kids that did this. Then maybe they'd take it seriously.
I'll call the school. They
Is not a loser.
Sweetheart.
Great man.
He's not got much to go on right now. He does need some help in his life.
Wait, are you saying Robbie's been out of school for a month?
Jesus Christ.
Shit.
What is his wife doing? She's ex-wife. She's clearly not doing a good job either. Though I guess he's a tricky kid.
I'm closing it up. It's over.
Oof.
What about me? I need you.
That is actually quite a responsible decision from Johnny. Like, he messed up with the stuff he was putting into Miguel's head. But the idea of the dojo and doing it right, teaching kids defensive moves, you know, like, you should teach kids how to fight in that sense, to defend themselves, and like enough to land like not a blow to like seriously injure anybody, like he was like, you know, rah, get his head, rah. It should be like, you know, to strike back enough so that the person is like, oh, they're serious, I'll stop, you know. And if he goes forward with it, which I assume he will because the show is called Cobra Kai and this is episode 4 of season 1 and season 4 starts at some point, I just really hope that when he starts it up again, it is done better. Samantha. Oh, she needs to stand up for her friend, but at the same time I understand why it's how hard it is, even though it shouldn't be hard. But she's a kid.
I like tear up.
She needs to learn the hard way that boys suck. Or a lot of boys suck. Especially when they're teenagers.
Did you knock?
Been knocking for 5 minutes. Guess you couldn't hear me over that trash in your boombox.
That was a boombox.
That thing on your face.
Has he been in a coma since the 80s?
What are you doing here?
Not wasting your life hanging around these jackholes.
Hey, screw you, man.
Screw you. Is your mom around?
Obviously not.
Well, I'm saying, of course she's not. It's 3 in the afternoon. It's got to be happy hour somewhere.
Oof.
Don't talk about my mom like that.
What happened in this family?
I'm talking about me, all right?
He does care about his son.
Like your old pal Daniel LaRusso? Nice to be a winner. See, that's the thing. You don't care this winter. It's taken so long.
School just called me this morning.
It took 16 years.
Oof.
And I'm not going to school. I'm done.
Oh God.
Your mom's okay with it, so we're good.
Oh God. This does break my heart, and it breaks my heart for Robbie. I mean, admittedly, if I learn more about him and I'm like, oh, you know, I mean, at this point, he is making his own bad decisions. I'm not like, oh, poor baby or anything, but clearly he's had a rough life. If his mum's an alcoholic, his dad's left. Now again, I doubt Johnny, you know, totally was like, oh yeah, I wash my hands of you, but I do want to know how active Johnny has been. The fact that it took like one insult for Johnny to be like, oh fine, ruin your own life. Parents should, and again, this is hard, so I'm not even necessarily faulting Johnny in the long run. It is hard, especially when you have a teenage brat stood in front of you being a dick, to put your foot down, but really what all this acting out needs is a parent to keep recurringly sticking around, regardless of everything he throws at him, putting his foot, trying to be there for him, which is easier said than done, and maybe he is just going to throw his life away, maybe it's too late, but it's never too late. But what happened in the marriage, what happened in the past? Was the mother an alcoholic and Johnny cheated, or Johnny left and he just left the family and is kind of, I guess Robbie didn't want anything to do with it. I really want to know the backstory here. And again, it breaks my heart because you can see that Johnny cares and that he does, obviously he loves his son and he wants the best for him. But, yet again, he sees the best cause of that. He sees the right thing to do, or at least he sees what he wants to do. He sees the good intentions, and he just swerves them when it gets tricky.
No more crap. You haven't had enough, Rhea? Huh?
They should press. Like, I get why Miguel doesn't want to tell anybody, but seriously, if you press actual charges that stay on the record for these children, parents will soon start getting their kids in line, and it will no longer be, oh well, if the kids were just tougher, or like, you know, but obviously they have that, oh but he's just a bright young boy with his whole future ahead of him, he made a mistake. Fuck that. Get these kids put into juvie for a violent assault, and their parents will pay a lot more attention going forwards.
Oh, that was rude, guy.
Aren't you big tough?
God, no. Dumb shit.
Please.
Bunch of losers.
Samantha, I am looking at you right now, young lady. Karate does mean something to him. Though I would want to vet the teacher. I'd want to vet like how he's teaching and all that kind of things.
Back in the day, karate in the valley was like football in Texas, you know, and Daniel was a champion.
It's the same thing with the bonsai trees. It's something
Okay.
personal. But if
Personal touch is good.
it's a gimmick, maybe we should change it. I mean, Tom Cole doesn't rely on.
Strong American plan. From the strong American himself, me, Tom Cole.
Well, he'll sell to Republicans. You'll sell to everyone else.
Musket.
That would be the first time ever that you actually know where your son is, so congratulations. Your amazing dad skills.
At least I'm
Oh.
not giving up on him.
Eat shit, Johnny. You gave up on day
Oof.
one. Day one.
Jesus.
I was the one that was there for him when he...
All right, well, I'm here now.
It's
Where was he? Was he just being a deadbeat dad and kind of he realised what he'd lost when it was too late, and now he's drowning? Because
I hear they make a fantastic apple brown beret.
oh, Jesus Christ. Just keep trying. Keep fighting. Stick with him.
We got a 2-time karate champ over here. I guess I should be worried.
Just be the best salesman you can be.
Dan, I'm just
You're a grown man. And this man is a grown child. But it's childish. Daniel. Men, they're all just little boys. Though he did have that coming. She still went on a date? Samantha!
I saw what you did to those kids in the library.
This is not the time to have this discussion.
Stop it.
Yes, girl.
Stop it.
Was he never there? Now it's too late.
I know there's no do-overs.
This is Miguel's mother, right? Not his family.
I know I messed up big time.
I really appreciate
If you
this.
let him come back, I won't fail him again.
I really, really hope
I
not.
promise.
It's some honesty he should use with Robbie when Robbie's alone and doesn't have his friends to, like, big him up.
I don't think Kyler's gonna be around anymore.
See? She's a gut. She can take care of herself.
Don't look too excited, Dad.
It's very, very sad.
She can take care of herself. Have more faith in her. Especially seeing as you taught her karate.
All right, but I need to know, are you ready to take things to the next level?
Oh, a good level?
Yes, Sensei.
Or
You
a...
got your ass kicked because you didn't have any defense.
Okay.
So and the best defense
It's a good offense.
is more offense.
Oh. We have the right answer, the good intentions, the good things that are good character growth. I mean, it's been 4 episodes, and then he just swerves them with like a big muscly jock boy. That would work if he was being attacked by other big muscly jock boys, but with a geekier boy, a smaller boy, you need to take it differently. And then once he's built up his strength through the defense, maybe. Johnny! I tried so hard this episode to just solidly root for you.
You found a bunch of these up on the billboard. That's the guy you went to high school with, right?
This son of a
Oh.
bitch disrespected our family name. You gonna take that shit, Kyle?
Oh god.
No, don't tell me to relax. I thought this was cute at first. This isn't funny.
Daniel, it was a dick drawn on your billboard. It annoyed you for 24 hours. Okay, so I swear, with every episode, with every dated reference, with every childish act Johnny does and makes, I feel like he definitely has been in a coma since the last time we saw him in the original movies, because he doesn't appear to have any knowledge of technology since then. And I get that it's probably a case of he was at his peak before he became a senior. He was at his peak when he was in high school and he was the king of the school and he was the king of karate and all the pretty girls wanted him and he was the best, and then real life hit him like a truck. And I feel like for the longest time he probably had the attitude that a lot of people have when they're faced with difficult challenges of, oh, poor me, I don't deserve this, I'm good, I should be doing, like, why haven't I been given everything, oh, life is hard. And that probably is what led him to, I don't know what his initial like career path has been, but to kind of not really having a job he can, or a sort of a job that he likes or can stick with. And I think it really cost him his family because he was too focused on his life being so hard rather than being there with his kids. Now I am obviously making some assumptions based on what was said, but he didn't refute it when his wife said that, so that does seem as though he was a very shitty dad when he was around. And I think the way the kid has turned out is a testament to that, because he is a brat who's throwing his own life away, and I don't know, I just don't feel like he had the best parenting. But in a way, if Johnny cares about his son, which of course he does, he's not a heartless monster, then he really just needs to be there for him, be strict with him. You know, I don't know how. I pray to God that when I have kids I never end up in that kind of a situation, but I fully intend to love my children with all of me, so yeah. He just needs to try to be the same passion and energy he's taking to Miguel and to like fixing things with Miguel. I feel like he's always using Miguel as a do-over with Robbie. Now, when I say that, I don't think he is like using Miguel. But I feel like instead of dealing with that difficult problem with that kid, he's just focusing on this kid. And there's nothing wrong with being there for this kid, but don't ignore your kid going forwards. And yeah, I think part of the reason he makes such outdated references and doesn't appear to have attained any knowledge since the 80s, I think is because that was the peak of his life, and he kind of has just been in this pool of self-pity, or like, I'm not good enough, but I deserve to be better. That I think hopefully we're going to start to see him shake himself out of. And I did really, really appreciate when he went to Miguel's mother and, you know, he laid himself bare and vulnerable with this lady who is a stranger and who clearly does not like him. You know, he didn't need to do that. Obviously to save his dojo he did, but it wasn't like, and then he walked away with like a smirk or anything. It was totally genuinely how he was feeling. And I think more of that would really help his character growth. And so that when he was like, I won't fail him again, he's just doing what he was doing before but more. And I I just want to go to Miguel's mother and say, find him a different dojo, not this one. Because, just Johnny, he is the king of beginning to realise that the problems in his life and the things that have happened to him aren't the result of the world attacking him, but are in fact his own mistakes that he needs to take ownership of. But every time he almost gets there, he swerves. And every time I'm like, oh, he's going to do right by the kids now, he swerves. And it's very frustrating. But there are 4 episodes. We're not quite halfway through season 1 yet. Oh, God. We're getting there. I mean, his response, the fact that he is bonding with Miguel at all, I think Miguel in a way has been the person to kind of shake him out of that stupor. Having this just really sweet kid, a kid that he 100% would have bullied back in high school, but having this like kid who is sweet and who believes in him, I think is the thing that is waking him up again. And if that is what supercharges his, oh yeah, I have a son, I should probably do something about that and be there for him. You know, if that makes him become a better man, I will be so happy with the course this show takes. Now, on a flip side, Daniel obviously is his flip side. I can understand, obviously, it is embarrassing when somebody defaces a prominent picture of your face. You know, it is not a nice feeling. But I definitely also feel like there was a lot of an overreaction there, because at the end of the day, someone graffitied, who cares? And then if you find out it's Johnny, who cares? Like, from Daniel's point of view, you are a successful businessman, you have a lovely home, you have a lovely family, you are happy in your life. And while Johnny is opening the Cobra Kai dojo, sure, he clearly isn't as happy in his life as you are. It doesn't take much to figure that out by looking at him. And even if he was doing great in his life, at the end of the day, who cares? You know, if your rival, the big strike he makes against you, is to childishly draw a dick on your face on a billboard, I think you're winning. So I kind of hope he doesn't resort to the same sort of childishness. I mean, he was a very, not impetuous, he was an impulsive kid. And, you know, I think the rivalry really stuck with him, and that was partly because it made him scared for his life, but also just the injustice of the way they hated him made him like reckless as well and do things that were just dumb pranks. But he was a kid back then, so I do hope that he's not going to go too far in hating Johnny. Like, to be honest, if I was him, I wouldn't even go and see Johnny about this. I would just let it slide. And if there were constantly dicks being painted again and again and again, maybe you'd go and see him and go like, what is your problem? But my response would be more of an exasperated, how old are we? Are you serious? Rather than like anger. So I'm intrigued about that. Now, I don't blame him for the kick in the boba tea. He didn't hurt anyone, and the worst that happened is that car needs a bit of a clean. And in a way, given that they were like, oh, it's just a gimmick for you. I'm not a revolutionary soldier. You're not a karate guy. And then he was like, I am a karate guy. I don't know where the story's going to go in general with like the rivalry and everything, but they're adults. They don't need to resort to being teenage boys again. And then when we come to the actual teenage boys, I am really, really glad that Samantha's eyes are, she's not stupid. And I mean, her rejection of Kyler and her like putting him in his place, quite literally, I am intrigued for her about how that is going to affect her social circle, because obviously Kyler is part of the popular kid crowd. Samantha is a newer member to the popular kid crowd. Will her friends, the popular girls, stick with her if Kyler says, oh, she's a horrible, frigid virgin, or oh, she's a slut, or whatever he's going to say, because he does not seem to me to be the kind of boy to take rejection lying down, especially from a girl that he thought was easy pickings or whatever. I don't know, the way he and his friends used to talk. I do wonder if she's going to end up being ostracized by them, and if that does happen, will her old friend have any, you know, what I want Samantha to do before she, I mean, hopefully she won't get ostracized by them. Hopefully Kyla will just act like, oh, nothing happened, it's all fine. And the girlfriends will stay with her. I want her to stand up for her old friend whose name I can't remember. Is it something like Aisha or something? I want her to stand up for her. I want her to tell the bitch that was not right. I want her to say, you know, like, why are you that small that you want to do something like that? You know, I think that is who Samantha is, and I think we can see that she's struggling with it, but she's also a teenage girl in the middle of high school, like at the beginning of high school, and that is not an easy place to be. American high schools seem like toxic places, and again, I'm not saying there's no bullying or people that think they're better than other people in British schools. In my experience, though, there was nothing on the scale that happens in every single time a high school is mentioned in an American TV show. You know, I just, if these bratty kids started being treated seriously, like started getting actual punishments and actual things that could derail, and I say derail their lives, at this point I don't necessarily make it so that they will have a miserable life forever. It just put a blemish on that record, so maybe they will think twice. It will ripple down to other kids. They will stop other kids from becoming as obnoxiously bullying as possible. But for Samantha's sake, I'm proud of her for standing up to Kyla. I kind of didn't feel like she wouldn't, and that was part of why last episode I was a bit exasperated with Danny, because I was like, trust your daughter, she'll be fine. But at the same time, I think the harder thing to deal with is the social circle, her social status, the girls with their bitchiness and their brattiness, and just the fact that if she goes to her friend and if she stands up for her, she might become the butt of the joke, she might become the one being bullied and tormented, and it is human nature to want to not be that person. But it takes a good person and a strong person, especially when the person being targeted was your friend and they're being targeted by your current friends, to do something about it. So I hope she does. That was a very long-winded waffle. I've said that a lot about Samantha, but I was pleased with her with Kyla and I need her to keep that energy up. So yeah, I am very excited to keep going with this show. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon 2 weeks in advance, the edited version 1 week in advance, and thank you for watching.